Russia has made 7.7 billion euros in 2 weeks of war in Iran. 0 Russian soldiers are deployed. 0 Russian missiles have been fired. Russia did not start this war. It did not fund it. It did not plan it. It just sold oil while everyone else bled. Subscribe and hit the bell. We run the math that nobody else is running. This is what the receipts show. When the US and Israel struck Iran on February 28th, Russia had one immediate strategic asset, oil. Moscow produces 11 million barrels per day. The moment Hormuz closed and Gulf supply collapsed, Russian oil became the most valuable commodity on earth. Countries that normally bought Gulf crude, Japan, South Korea, Germany, India, suddenly needed an alternative supplier. Russia was ready. Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak publicly offered to boost supply to China and India within 72 hours of the war starting. Russia was not reacting to a crisis. It was executing a plan. Here is the arithmetic. Before the war, Brent crude traded at $72 per barrel. Russia sold its Urals blend at a $12 discount, $60 per barrel. After the war started, Brent hit $115. Russia's discount narrowed to $8 as desperate buyers paid premium prices. Russia was now selling at $107 per barrel, 11 million barrels per day. That is $1.17 billion every 24 hours, compared to $660 million before the war. The difference? $510 million of additional revenue. Every single day. Over 14 days, $7.1 billion extra. The Euronews data puts the total at 7.7 billion euros. Same number, different currency. Here is the war receipt. Russia. 0 soldiers deployed, 0 missiles fired, 7.7 billion euros earned in 14 days. Net cost to Russia, nothing. United States. $2.8 billion in direct military spending, $14 billion in economic drain from elevated oil prices, 87 cents added to every gallon of gas for every American driver. Net cost to America, $16.8 billion in 14 days. One country started the war. The other country got paid for it. Russia did not get lucky. Prepared. In January and February 2026, weeks before the war, Russia quietly expanded oil loading capacity at its Arctic terminals. Tanker bookings to Asia doubled. When investigators later reviewed the shipping data, Russian tanker movements showed a surge in bookings that predated the war by 17 days. Russia knew something was coming, or it made sure to be ready when something did. Either conclusion is equally alarming for Washington. 7.7 billion euros does not sit in a bank. It funds the Ukraine war. Russia's military budget was running a deficit before February 28th. High oil prices are the single most important factor keeping Russia's war economy solvent. The IMF calculated that Russia needs oil above $85 per barrel to balance its budget. At $107, Russia runs a surplus. Every week the Iran war continues above $100 oil. Russia generates roughly $1.8 billion in additional warfighting capacity. The U.S. is simultaneously funding 2 adversaries, Iran indirectly through the oil price it cannot control, Russia directly through the same mechanism. Washington knows this math. The Treasury knows it. Every sanctions analyst at the State Department knows it. And the answer to stopping it is nothing. America cannot sanction Russia out of the oil market while simultaneously cutting Gulf supply through Hormuz. The U.S. created the supply vacuum that Russia is filling. Sanctioning Russian oil now would send prices to $140 and collapse the U.S. economy faster than the war itself. America is trapped inside its own strategy. Russia is not alone. China is buying Russian oil at a discount while simultaneously receiving Iranian oil through Hormuz, the only country Iran is letting through. China is filling its strategic reserves at below-market prices, watching the U.S. military drain resources in the Gulf, and extending its operational window on Taiwan while American carriers are tied down in the Persian Gulf. Russia and China are not visibly coordinating. They do not need to. The war is doing the work for them. America started a war to destroy Iran's economy. 14 days in, Russia had pocketed 7.7 billion euros without a single soldier crossing a border. Iran was winning the economic round. China was buying discounted oil and watching U.S. military assets stretch thin. The only country paying the full price of this war in money, in economic damage, in global credibility, is the country that started it. If you want to understand the one card Iran is still holding that could collapse the global economy overnight, that video is on screen right now. Watch it next. And tell me below, did Russia know this war was coming? Yes or no? Subscribe. We cover every move the moment it happens.